Thank you for coming back to another episode. My name is Kaylee,
My name is Logan.
and we don't know what we're doing. Maybe you don't know what you're doing either, in which case you found the perfect podcast. And if you do know what you're doing, give us some tips because we need them.
Yes, we do.
Today is January 17th. It is a Wednesday. It's cold outside.
I was 35 today.
It's gotten better.
It wasn't too bad for me today.
Oh, that is so wonderful. I was like 22. Even like 22 felt even like 10 degrees this morning felt so good. And we're just coming out that wonderful bout of below zero temps and wind chills.
The polar vortex. It returns.
Ooh. If only it was if it was a true polar vortex, I wouldn't have had work this week, which would have been fantastic. But yeah, I know the next couple of days the lows in Illinois will be like -2, -1. But I think that's only for 2 nights. And the highs are still like 20. So
It's supposed to get colder again here as we approach the weekend.
and remind us where you're at, Logan.
I am in a suburb of Kansas City.
Nice. How hype are you about the Chiefs this season? Or do you follow football?
Yeah, I do follow football a good bit, mainly because I was in my work had a fantasy league this year. This was my first time ever doing a fantasy football league.
Okay.
And I won.
Oh, Logan, that's awesome.
By a good bit too.
Ooh, that's nice.
But I do follow football now, and I'm an Illinois native, so I'm a fan of the Bears.
The Bears.
As painful as it is.
Mm-hmm. The emotional whiplash every week.
Yeah.
I'm a native of Northeast Ohio, so we have the Browns and we have the Bengals. Let me fact check myself. Is Cincinnati the Bengals? Yes, they are.
The Bengals are in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's like 3 hours away from me. That's basically like Kentucky's team. But yeah, so I grew up like an hour and a half south of Cleveland, and like all of like our news stations were Cleveland. So all the news was about the Browns. Anytime anything happened to the Browns, the news would like crap their pants. It's just kind of funny.
Which the Browns made it to the playoffs this year.
They did.
They got eliminated.
Oh, yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, the playoffs this year have already been kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The Chiefs played in like -30 wind chill.
And his helmet cracked.
Andy Reid's mustache froze. Yeah, Mahomes' helmet cracked. It was insane. And they're playing one of the teams that's from Florida.
That game was a team from Florida?
Yeah, they were playing the Dolphins. And the quarterback for the Dolphins hasn't won a game that's like below 50 degrees.
That is funny.
There was the Bills game, which that one had gotten delayed, pushed back because of the snow. The Cowboys lost, which they played the Packers. And as a Bears fan, I hate the Packers.
Yeah.
But it is also hilarious when Cowboys lose first round of the playoffs, because it happens like every year. It's so funny.
Yes, that's so funny.
The Lions, they won their first playoff game in like over 60 years, I think. And there's 2 NFC North teams in the playoffs, the Lions and the Packers.
What do you think about that?
It's cool for the Lions. Again, I hate the Packers though. So
that's up to the Lions.
Lions are cool.
Yeah.
Their fans are nice. But Packers are just annoying.
They're one of those teams that I don't know if like overhyped is like the correct word, because they could very well be good. I know nothing about football, but I just whenever I hear anything about the Packers, I just like roll my eyes and I'm like, wow, you guys think your quarterback is 50 years old. Like,
well, not anymore. They have a rookie now.
Oh my god, no, not the rookie ego. Oh my god. I've seen that so many times with Cleveland, like
yeah.
For like a couple like for like 5 years, every rookie was or every quarterback was a rookie every year. Yeah. And oh my gosh, remember what's his name? Freaking Johnny Manziel, I think. I have not thought about him in a while. But he was crazy.
But with the Packers, they had Aaron Rodgers, who's kind of a weird guy.
Okay.
And he was there for like 15 years or something. And man was he was like, I own the Bears. And it's like, bro, shut up.
Bro, no, you do not.
Like, we get it. We've now lost the last 10 games that we've played the Packers. Like, we get it. But, like, it's the Bears. I don't know if you want to be owners of that.
Yeah, you don't want to put your name on that.
Yeah. But Aaron Rodgers was traded away to the Jets.
I remember that.
And on the first drive,
yeah.
yeah, he tore his Achilles.
Oh my god, that's first drive. That's devastating.
Out for the whole season.
Oh, man, I would cry if I was him. That's devastating. I feel so bad.
Yeah, I don't. Because I don't like him.
It's a football player. Yeah.
I don't like him at all.
Yeah, he looks like a scumbag, but...
Yeah, he kind of looks like a hobo now. It mainly started from 2020 because he got like super into like holistic medicine and that type of stuff.
Like naturopathy and crap.
Weed.
Oh, no, he does like a stoner.
Yeah.
I get it. You know who, this is random, you know who looks like a hobo?
Who?
Ethan Hawke. Have you seen him lately?
Yeah.
I love Ethan Hawke. I love his books. A Bright Ray of Darkness is such a good book. So Messed Up is such a good book. But like he's a little scruffy. I love the vibe. I do. Especially like the picture in Variety where he and Maya are both in like Canadian suits or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Looks like a cowboy.
I think it's part of like how his face is structured, you know?
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's like he's not ugly. Like he's attractive.
Very. I would go on a date with Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke, if you're listening, take me on a date. He kind of looks like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he does have a very Brad Pitt face.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I'm looking at the same guy. Along the same vein, kind of as Bradley Cooper. I don't really know.
Yeah.
No. The same man, different font, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of white guys in Hollywood that are.
There's a lot of scruffy white guys. They just look like each other.
They're the same, but they're just in different fonts.
Yeah, same men in different fonts. But like, I'm okay with that. So who cares? So we talked about the cold in the NFL a little bit, and just the cold in life in general. And something really, really fun that I got to experience this weekend was my fuel lines freezing.
Oh.
Yeah. And like, so my gas tank was at like a little bit under a half. And this was like Saturday night going into Sunday. And I got home from the gym Saturday night. And I was like, oh, I should get gas. Oh, but I didn't. I put it off. Because like I knew I read somewhere that you need to keep your gas tank pretty high in the winter so it doesn't freeze. Yeah.
Mine's at like a quarter tank right now.
My car is also from 2001. It's a year younger than me.
Yeah.
I feel like that also has something to do with it. But yeah, so I got home Saturday night, just did my thing. And then Sunday night, I was okay, this is gonna get cold, I'm gonna go fill my tank. I go outside, start my car, and the engine is not turning on. It's not clicking like the battery's dead. All the lights on my dash are coming on. It makes the initial like startup noise.
Yeah.
But the engine does not, nothing is sent to the engine, and it sounds like an airplane. I think it's
like not turning over.
Not turning over.
Yeah.
So it was an easy fix. They sell it's called ISO heat, and it's at like any like AutoZone, and you just put it in your gas tank, and it keeps it from freezing. It's like coolant, but like heatant for your gas tank.
Warmint.
And then we used it. I put a whole bottle in my tank, shoved my car around a little bit, jostled it in there. Half hour later, went back outside, cranked it a little bit, and then it started. And then I filled my tank. So easy fix. If your car doesn't start, guys, don't panic. It's probably not your battery, unless it is your battery. But if it's not your battery, get some ISO heat and unfreeze your gas lines.
I mean, even if like your car just doesn't start in winter, jumping it will typically work as well.
I think our next tactic was going to be jumping it if the ISO heat didn't work.
Yeah, when I was at Olivet, I had a couple times where my car wouldn't start because of the cold.
Really?
It was mainly because, like, I didn't drive my car every day.
Yeah.
Like, when it got cold out and classes were canceled, I just didn't go
You're not
anywhere,
going anywhere. Yeah.
and so my car was just sitting there in the cold, and that's not good. But now, like, I just make sure to drive my car every day,
Mhm.
and that it worked fine even with the super, super cold that we had this
Yeah.
past weekend.
Yeah. At least drive it a little bit
Mhm.
to get heat in your engine bay,
Yeah.
'cause that helps.
Yeah, like, I would just drive it and make
Yeah.
sure that it got up to, like, normal operating temperature.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I still haven't fixed my tires though. I need to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it in February because I don't want to take the time off work. And the first or the second Monday in February is President's Day,
Mm.
and I have off. So
I don't have that off
the
because 'cause I'm not a government employee.
one time it pays to be a government employee. But speaking of being a government employee, I have worked at the health department for December, November, October, September, 5 months now.
Wow.
And up until now, smooth sailing. Like
Mhm.
there is some workplace drama, but like obviously that's like everywhere. But I've never had somebody like out. Like I like to call it I've never had a nemesis. Now I have a nemesis,
Oh, no.
and woo, am I feeling some emotions about it? Let me tell you. I work in public health. He also works in public health.
Mhm.
I don't want to name drop because I don't want to get in trouble and get sued and lose my job.
Yeah.
But it is just somebody from a neighboring department who it's hard to explain without going into crazy detail about what I do. But he's not buying in. He does not want to engage in something that will help his constituents and his customers and his clients. And we had a conversation today, and like it's a very rural community.
Mhm.
And I was like, we can help you because I don't want to leave your citizens in the dark. And he goes, there's nothing out there like as far as like social services go.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm doing at work would help that. So instead of being like, okay, we'll figure it out, like we'll keep having this conversation, he goes, sometimes being in the dark is nice. And I just like,
What?
yeah. And I was like, I just kind of stopped for a second and I was silent and I was like, after I processed it, I was like, oh, like you, huh?
Huh.
Hmm.
So you don't care about the people you're serving.
Like you don't care about making their lives easier and tearing down barriers that they have to getting the help they need because just because of the zip code they happen to live in.
Yeah.
Like, hello, that's a little off, right? So yeah, I feel like it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do about it, but I feel like just like in perpetuity, I'm always going to be like I'm always going to be doing what I think is right, what other people tell me is right, because there is a huge service gap in rural America, and if I can do anything to help that, by God, I'm going to. Like, come hell or high water, like I'm gonna do what little I can to help make it better.
If you have the capability to help someone, then you should help
Why wouldn't
them.
you? Yeah.
Like, it's
Oh.
the Good Samaritan story, you know?
Mhm.
It's almost like taught that as a kid.
It's almost like helping people is biblical, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Or
I
just
don't know.
being a decent person.
Like, which is not inherently biblical. Like, you don't need a
Yeah.
religious basis to be good to people. And like, I'm not trying to make you religious. I'm just saying like having the desire to be good to people should be inherent in the fabric of being a human.
Yeah.
And when it's not, I'm kind of just like, huh, what? Why? What are you just lazy? Are you jaded? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here, dude?
That's ugh. Ugh.
Yeah. So that I feel like that will be an ongoing saga that I will get to talk about. Probably not in insane detail
Yeah.
because confidentiality and my
Mhm.
reputation and my job
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, when it comes to, like, job stuff, probably best to keep it confidential.
Yeah. And I feel like pretentious saying that because like it's not like I work at this high security situation,
It's
but
Kankakee.
we are public figures.
Yeah.
Like I go out into the community and talk. He is a representative of his community. Like
Mhm.
we're both in the public eye at any given point in time. So
Yeah.
like
I'm not.
you get to be behind the scenes and chill. I
Yeah.
wish. That's what I thought this job would be.
Nope.
Like I remember like interviewing for it and they were like talking about how often grant managers, or my title is health promotion coordinator, but it's a health educator / health grant manager, whatever.
Mhm.
And they were talking about how often they like work with the public. And I was like, wait a minute, grant managers work with the public? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, huh.
But, yeah, I think, like, any job is gonna have people that you work with that aren't really gonna see eye to eye with you. You're just gonna kind of struggle to work with them at times. I'm in a place, luckily, where I don't have that very often. That's a very good thing about where I work at. There are some times where I'm working with, like, our clients, the other departments and whatnot, where sometimes, like, they may not understand something, and we try to help them understand that, or even, like, they might be a little too hands-on sometimes, which can be very frustrating if you're in the creative space and you know people that are a little too hands-on with your creative work. You know what I'm talking about. It's very frustrating at times, but you kind of just have to go through it, kind of work with them at it. So,
Yeah. So you work for a faith-based organization.
yeah.
Is is are the like your clientele also from the faith-based organization?
Yes.
Or are they like the public? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't really work with the
Deal with the
public.
public. Okay.
I mean, we're outreaching towards the public essentially. Like, we are
Yeah.
technically public facing.
They're your
Um,
audience.
yeah, because we're a religious organization, but at the same time, a lot of the work we do directly is within the departments and stuff like that, or even like pastors.
Yeah. I hear you.
The main like breakdown of it is that there's like our board of general superintendents, which is like in charge of essentially everything. We work with them sometimes because like it's the Nazarene denomination's headquarters.
Mhm.
So we work with all the different departments, and it's kind of broken down into three different parts after the board.
Okay.
So there's NYI, which is Nazarene Youth International, which deals with like the young people. It's like some children and teenagers, people like that. And then there's
Mhm.
NDI, Nazarene Discipleship International, which kind of deals with everyone in a sense, and like kind of discipleship, Sunday school stuff.
Right. Like that mentoring. Yeah. Mentoring. Um, would evangelizing fall under that, or is that its own?
We have Nazarene Missions International and MI, which is all of our missions related things.
Okay.
And because we're a global church, we also have different world areas.
Mhm.
So we have USA, Canada, South America, I think Central America is a region. There's Eurasia, Africa,
Wow.
and then Asia Pacific. Like, we
Hmm.
have people in many, 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 many different parts of the world.
That is something that I've always admired about the Church of the Nazarene. It's just how like obviously far-reaching
Mhm.
um their missions are.
Yeah.
Like
And for being one of the smaller denominations,
it's impressive.
yeah, and one of the newer ones as well. Like, it was only
Yeah.
founded in 1908, really,
Mhm.
which was just over 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty young in terms
Yeah.
of denominations. And I feel like part of that is academia is really to think for a lot of that, I think, because of the far reach of the Nazarene universities.
Because there's, I think, 8 in like the United States, Canada area. But there's a ton more throughout the world.
Yeah.
Like there's
so much.
I know there's one in like South Korea. There's some Bible colleges like in Africa. There's the Nazarene Bible College, which is like a theological seminary.
Nazarene Theological Seminary is huge. In Missouri, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's Mid-America Theological Seminary, but that one is in Dyer, Indiana. Not quite Mid-America, but...
Yeah, Mid-America is in the Kansas City area.
Mid-America Naz or Mid-America Theological Seminary?
Nazarene University.
Okay.
Because I go to church at Mid-America Nazarene University.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was something else.
Yeah, they have a college church there.
Nice. I've been going to an Anglican church in Chicago. Because I cannot bring myself to leave high liturgy. Like I can't. When it was really bad and snowy and I couldn't make it to the city, I went to a non-denominational church just to see what it was like. And it is just not my cup of tea.
Non-denominational is a little weird because
I need more ritual than that.
There's no denomination, so there's no doctrine really. There's not anything that unifies the church. It's mainly just whatever the pastor wants.
Yeah.
Which sometimes they can be a good pastor, but that's still like a very icy road they can very easily slip on.
It feels like when Anselm said faith seeking understanding, it's just faith and there's not a lot of understanding.
Yeah.
Because there's no tradition is important in the life cycle of a church and of a denomination, but we have seen in the Catholic Church, we've seen where tradition has been the downfall.
Yep.
But that isn't God's fault. It's the flawed people that he trusted to carry on the tradition who made their own decisions because of free will.
Yeah.
Shout out to free will.
Woo.
But yes, I don't know. And I've always, whenever I went to college church, all of that, I always liked how it was a good mix of both modern Protestant lower liturgy and some not too far reaching to be to go over the congregation's heads, but just enough of higher liturgical aspects to kind of elevate it and show that understanding.
Yeah.
And not force feed it, but make it obvious enough to still be subtle, but also easy to follow.
Yeah. So if you're newer to the faith, then you can understand it still. But if you've been in the faith for many, many years, you can still understand it and potentially even get more out of it.
You still enjoy it. If it's not quite as nuanced as you're used to, but you can still appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like getting a theology degree kind of it's hard for me to enjoy just simple things anymore because I'm I can't listen to this pastor talk without pointing out a flaw. Oh no. And then I feel pretentious, but
yeah, there's some pastors where they'll only use scriptures or they'll only use what they've taken away from scripture. You can't really do that. You have to do both. You have to kind of give the scripture, give the context, kind of draw some conclusions from that and let the audience make their own conclusions as well without forcing them to make the same conclusion that you made.
Yeah, you have to equip them to be interpreters of the text just like how you are. Anyway. I love theology. I miss it so much.
Maybe we could do like a full theology episode.
That would be slay. That would be fun. We like pick like just a theological topic and kind of break it down from 2 different viewpoints.
Yeah.
I still have some friends who are at Olivet, and they'll like, because I always complained about chapel and always was like, I'm gonna write whoever is in charge of chapel an email and be so angry and talk about how theologically whack they are and blah 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 blah. And so like to this day they're still like in the group chat they're like, oh Kaylee, you're gonna hate this. Like, sorry to ruin your day, but you're gonna hate this.
Yeah. Like today's chapel, it was their first one of the new semester, I believe. They had like some people from the dance group come in.
Yeah. Which is so funny with the Church of the Nazarene, because they like,
if you don't know,
is no dancing still in the manual?
No, it's not actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that hasn't been in the manual for quite a while now.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure.
The Church of the Nazarene used to be very, very strict. It's still a little bit more strict on some things, but it was very strict. Like, you couldn't dance, you couldn't go and see a movie, and those have both been gotten rid of. We've kind of changed with the time a little bit, but one of the ones that we still hold pretty strong on is alcohol.
Yes.
We practice abstinence with alcohol, so we don't partake in it, period. And it's mainly like just kind of like the preemptive way to refrain from temptation. Because the Bible doesn't say that alcohol is bad, it says that drunkenness is bad. Because that leads to sin.
Yeah.
So we just kind of said, no alcohol. That solves that problem.
Yeah. And like, I also appreciate how when the church was founded, it was founded as a safe place for like outcasts and addicts and people who were ostracized by society for having these vices. So like the no alcohol thing really started as like a solidarity with the common man, which I always really appreciated that. And a lot of their like no dancing, no whatever is like in the solidarity to a marginalized population. And like, albeit it's not like it's not real social justice, but it's some type of like, I don't know, camaraderie that even now addicts don't see because they're facing so much stigma in modern society. The church had it right when it was founded. Like it really was founded as a social movement. But there's like, from the outside looking in, I think there's some like the bureaucracy of like the superintendents and that kind of structure. I kind of never quite jived with, but I also am an anti-establishment kind of person. That being said, I love the popes, but like popes are figureheads. They're not really doing anything.
No. Our general superintendents, they do quite a bit for the church. Because like they're kind of in charge of the whole thing. There's a board of them.
Okay.
And then like the whole globe is split up into the world regions, and then the world regions each have districts. And so the world regions have regional coordinators, and then each district has their own superintendent that also has an advisory board. Like, there's a lot of bureaucracy.
Checks and balances.
But yeah, it's set up in a way that it kind of keeps everything in check and everything keeps moving as well.
Yeah. Like, supervision is important when it's being like, I don't know. Oh, I don't know how to like quite ask this without sounding like a butthead, but have there been instances of like corruption in the Nazarene church hierarchy throughout history or
I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised because humans are awful people sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, but I honestly don't know. I'm gonna do a quick Google search on that.
Yeah, no, I would be curious because there's corruption everywhere in
Yeah.
every like hierarchy of individuals. People are going to try to get power, but
Mhm.
um, and then like you have instances in faith-based organizations, like
Yeah.
we've seen it happen
Yeah.
in churches before. I'll say that much.
I'm not really seeing much. I mean, there's like some controversy stuff, which
Mhm.
every church has controversy,
Every church has controversy.
but I'm not really seeing that. But I mean, if there is, I'm sure it was handled appropriately because of how we do our business.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it.
And like every 4 years, we also have General Assembly where
Yes.
we have people, like lay people and ministers, they vote on things in the manual.
Oh, that's what they do at General Assemblies.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. And so, like a lot of different districts will propose different things to be added or amended in the church manual for the next 4 years. And then
Hmm.
they kind of like give their stance on these things and kind of like defend it, or some people speak out against it. Um, it's kind of boring, I'll be honest. It's not the most exciting, but it is very
Have you
interesting.
been?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's cool. That does not happen in Catholicism.
yeah. And then depending on the age of our general superintendents, they'll retire. They'll be forced to
Okay.
retire. And then those representatives that are voting will vote on new general superintendents,
Okay.
which we actually just elected to last year.
Nice. I like the peaceful exchanges of power.
Mhm.
Those are nice. But yeah, I'm glad you heard about chapel today too, because their interpretation of perichoresis is
Yeah.
not quite it, Chief. That's not what that is. Whatever. And like, okay. So to bring people into the know theologically, we're really kicking a dead horse here. Um Perichoresis it describes the relationship of the Trinity, so the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Um, and if you look at like the Greek roots,
Mhm.
chor is in there, chor, which
Yeah.
is dancing. So the doctrine is called like the mystical dance a lot, which is just the really like if you think of like a partner dance, there's a give and take, there's leading, there's following. One person is spinning, one person is dipping, that kind of a thing. The Trinity exists in the same way,
Yeah.
according to perichoresis. You know, it's the relationship of the Trinity of the Triune God.
Mhm.
And in chapel, they kind of like, and something that Olivet's Chapel has been doing for a long time is taking biblical concepts and like, in my opinion, pushing their own agenda on it and
Yeah.
changing the meaning of things. So like how they changed the meaning of shalom,
Yeah.
they're changing perichoresis and making it like a dance, like to describe the relationship between God and creation, or God, like us and God.
Mhm.
And like I get it, like yes, we are in relationship with God, but
Mhm.
like let theology be theology, you know? Like you're not
Yeah.
like let the concepts be. You can make your own concepts, beautiful. Like I'm glad you're engaging with theology, but when you're like literally just stealing other people's thoughts and putting like zero effort in, you know, like that's not pioneering,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
The thing with all of that is that based on what I know of the demographic statistics, is that there are not a ton of Nazarenes actually at Olivet,
Yes.
which is kind of surprising.
It is quite surprising.
And so I think kind of what they do in chapel is to appeal to more of a general Christian and or non-Christian demographic.
Right.
So it's not necessarily coming like from Nazarene, more like general Christian, which I think that kind of muddies things sometimes.
Yeah, and I know that's it puts admin in contention with like the boards and such
Mhm.
because like that's at the end of the day the Nazarene Church is the church that all of it is affiliated with.
Yes.
Like yes, intersectionality and ecumenicalism is so wonderful, and as a non-Nazarene I really appreciated like studying under faculty who weren't necessarily Nazarene
Mhm.
and having my viewpoints be included even when they were different. But there's still like in the student body there is still so much like I'll say anti non-Nazarene rhetoric.
Yeah.
Which is just insane to me. Like so you have staff trying to be ecumenical, you have your student body not, even though the Nazarene population is so tiny, they're still like it's more like a clique
Mhm.
than a denomination. And then you have this tension between catering to a very Nazarene board of supervisors and a very
Yeah.
non-Nazarene
Student body.
student
Yeah.
population, while the Nazarene student body is being hostile.
Yeah.
Like, and no, I'm not saying you were hostile, like by no means.
No. Which I honestly kind of enjoyed having a good mix of denominations and everything at all of that. I think that's a very good thing to have. Because I know there's some schools where they're like only one denomination. Like,
Yeah.
I know there's some schools where it's like only Mormons essentially.
Yeah.
Like that's not really a good
No.
thing because
No.
it closes off your mind to different ideas.
Yeah. And that's how a lot of religious leaders keep their power is
Mhm.
making their congregations be close-minded.
Yeah.
And a lot, especially in like the ministry programs in theology class or theology classes that were required for the ministry major, which there should have been more because we have ministers out there preaching bad theology, but they did not share the same viewpoint. They were not very open-minded about other denominations, but
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely like some denominations that I have to be careful here. They're very different
yeah.
from the Nazarene denomination where it's almost like it's too different and it's harder to understand. And to someone that is like exclusively Nazarene and doesn't want anything to do with other denominations, like it would seem bad to them or like wrong. When in reality, you should still be a critical thinker, kind of look at those ideas, kind of where they came from, and see how they can still relate to your ideas as well.
So are you talking about the difference between like I'll say like pre-Wesleyan thought and post-Wesleyan, or pre-Reformation, post-Reformation, or like sect versus denomination? Like are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Yeah. Like I don't want to use the CULT word, but I will if I have
Yeah, but
to.
like to some people that don't know other denominations, they might think those ones are more cultish, whereas someone else from that denomination might think the exact same way about your denomination.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a very good thing to be more open minded, kind of look at things differently, and just kind of be understanding of where other people
Yeah.
are coming from.
Because the danger of labeling every religion that is different from yours as a cult is that it really de-villainizes cults who victimize people, you know? And
Mhm.
like, yes, okay, maybe like I'm just picking on the Mennonites because I grew up in Amish country. Mennonites, if you're listening to this, I mean no offense. I'm just you can say the same things about Catholics and I won't get upset. Um, but like I might look at like a Mennonite person and think,
Yeah.
oh my god, that's a cult. But people who are leading things like Heaven's Gate
Mhm.
are just that's seen as like self-expression. So what's the difference?
Yeah. Or, there was one time I was working an event with Shine.fm,
Okay.
and, we went to I think it was like a Jesus church thing, like, I think they were,
Like
like,
a Church of
from
Christ?
the movie Jesus Revolution? I think it was, like, one of those type
Oh,
of churches.
okay.
Yeah, and, when I went, I was like, "This is really, really weird. I don't know how I feel
Mhm,
about this. I'm kind of uncomfortable." But even then, it's still kind of interesting to be able to see how these other people feel the spirit, feel God's presence, and
mhm.
how they have their relationship with God and Jesus and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's very different from me, where I'm much more traditional and conservative in my religion and faith and my worship as well,
Mhm.
especially in comparison to what was happening there at that event.
Was it very charismatic or
Yeah, there was definitely like a lot of charisma there.
okay,
Um,
Riz?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
And they had like a guest speaker come in and they went like way over time, but they didn't have a time limit anyway. So we ended up leaving
Mhm.
early. But like it was like suspicious to me.
Right.
Like this doesn't seem quite right. Like why is he doing this? Like how is he doing that? Are they kind of falling for a scam almost? Or is this
Mhm.
real to them? Like it's hard to
Yeah.
see that line when you don't have a full understanding of their faith.
Mhm. I totally get that.
Yeah.
And like having I know so like very emotional worship kind of leads to
Mhm.
like a placebo effect. I don't maybe placebo is not a good word for it, but like you see
Yeah.
somebody else experiencing something and just like seeing that
Like
sets it off in you.
a worship high, essentially.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's like they might feel like they're getting something from their worship, but it might
Mhm.
just be a placebo or a high from it,
Yeah.
and they're not actually getting things from the Lord.
Mhm. And that's the social aspect of
Mhm.
religion, and that's like religion is a social institution and it
Yeah.
serves a lot of cohesive purposes. So
Mhm.
like that's good. But
Yeah.
if you can recognize that, that's when it's good. If you can't, then you're going to be confused.
Mhm.
And
But, like
when you're in a different situation and you're not feeling that, you're going to think, where did God go?
yeah. Like, who am I to say, like, what worship is right? It's all worship, you
Hmm.
know? If you wanna dance as your worship, then dance. If you just wanna stand there and sing, then that's still worship.
Hmm.
It's the heart that counts, not the
Yeah.
action.
No. Yeah. Don't let your left hand see what your right hand is doing, or don't let your left foot see what your right foot is doing. I don't know. And I feel like that's why a lot of kids get really confused when they're like,
Mhm.
when they leave their religious bubble of like a home church maybe and then step into a place that has like a chapel
Yeah.
and they're like in chapel and it's different and they're like, what the heck is this?
Mhm. Yeah, it was kind of different for me because I'm from a pretty small town, very small Nazarene church, like 50 to 100 people in attendance on, like, any given Sunday, essentially.
Yeah.
And coming to Olivet, where you have these huge chapels, it is a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's still, like, Nazarene, as we talked before, it's not necessarily targeted for Nazarenes.
No.
It's different. You just kind of have to take a moment and think, why is this different and what can I learn from it?
Mhm. Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. That, like and I came from a similar background. I from when I was, like, 14 to when I came to Olivet, I wasn't churched at all, but, like, growing up, I was raised in a really small Lutheran church,
Yeah.
did catechesis in a
Mhm.
Lutheran church, and I can talk more about, like, why my family ended up leaving that church later or whatever, but, like, coming from a standpoint of not being churched for a while, but still, like, being a spiritual person,
Yeah.
being chucked into chapel was like, "Whoa." Like, this could be really awesome, but this is also, like, super intimidating.
Mhm. Yeah, new things are very scary, especially
Mhm.
when you're used to the old thing.
Yeah. I feel like too, there's some people who just kinda crap on chapel just to crap on chapel,
Yeah,
just because 'cause they're pissed off that they're being forced to worship for an hour, and
yeah.
I'm just like, "Guys, chill."
Like, there's a reason it's mandatory.
Yeah.
It's so that you have something in your schedule that's consistent, something that kind of takes you out of your rhythm, and it kind of brings you back down to earth, essentially.
Yeah. It kinda reminds you, like, God is still following you around your
Mhm.
busy life even if you don't see him.
Yeah. Even with your busy, crazy schedules and finals and exams and everything, like, there's still that hour, 2 hours a week where you just kind of stop.
Mhm. That is so true. I know, and I feel like chapel is, like, has such high potential,
Mhm.
but it's not being utilized
Yeah,
efficiently. That's just my opinion,
yeah.
but
There were definitely times where chapel was, like, really, really good.
mhm. I think my or spring of 22, I
Mhm.
think was, like, the best semester of chapel
Yeah.
ever. And, like, that could be because I was in a very different place mentally that I had never been in before, and
Mhm.
everything was kinda just like, messages were just hitting me harder
Yeah,
because I experienced a loss. So I was, like, crazy. That was very intense for me.
yeah.
But yeah, Holcomb's last semester was just so good.
Mhm. And a lot of the revivals that we had were also very good.
Yeah. Oh my god, Miss Deirdre, I loved her.
Yeah. Which, funny about Miss Deirdre,
Mhm.
she had been so, like, at the General Assembly, when we vote for the general superintendents, people kind of put names in for it, and her name had been put in, and she had been getting a good number of votes, but she put her name out of it because of a variety of different reasons, but
Mhm.
even then,
That's good.
I liked her.
Dr. Bowling did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like her a lot. She was incredible. I loved her. But yeah, Dr. Bowling did the same thing. He was
yeah,
elected general superintendent and he accepted and then he resigned
yeah, he
like very
declined it
shortly after. He declined it? Okay.
or something like that.
I wasn't sure what the period was where it like if he was in office for X amount of times and then resigned or like declined it before it was like inaugurated.
Yeah, think he was I don't think he held office
The title ever, yeah.
because I know that well, he obviously wanted to be the president of all of that.
Mhm. And he said that too.
Mhm.
He decided that his mission at all of it was not done yet. Well,
Yeah,
that's what he felt, which I agree with. I think he had a good
yeah,
tenure.
and it was really weird because, like, my first year at Olivet was his last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's true.
Yeah,
I didn't really, we had 2 years of Chenoweth, huh?
yeah. Yeah, so in 2005, Dr. Bowling was elected to be general superintendent, but declined the office,
Oh, okay, there you go.
And then in 2009, he was elected again to serve. He accepted but rescinded his acceptance the next day.
There we go. That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him so. I miss him.
Yeah. He would be a good general superintendent, but I think
Feeling.
by now he's too old.
Yeah.
He's past our retirement age.
The hard 67 rule is for every public office
I think
ever.
it's like 72 or something for us.
72 is now retirement age?
Well, for the general
Oh.
superintendents.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you.
Or something like in that area.
Right.
But even still, there is a maximum age for them.
Which is good. We don't have that in our government.
Yeah. And another neat thing about the general board of superintendents is that they're from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got one guy, he's from Africa. We've got one of the new ones that was elected, he's from South America.
Nice.
And we do have a woman on the board.
Yay!
And she's amazing. And I've been able to work with all of them. They're all wonderful people.
Yeah. Good. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. We recently made like a little Christmas greeting and we got to work with them in a little video. It was really nice.
And I like that about the Church of the Nazarene too. They're very like in touch with their congregation nationally and internationally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of effort put in there.
Yeah, because on the video side of things, which is what I do, for like a lot of our videos that go out to all the world regions, we have them made in those different languages. Main 5, what we have.
Okay.
We have English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and Korean. So almost every video will either have a different language dub or different language subtitles.
Dub or sub.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's really cool. It takes a bit more work on our part, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Which is good. That's a good outlook to have too.
Because sometimes it can be very annoying because some videos we feel like would be better if we just had subtitles, but if they request it to be dubbed over, then we do that.
Yeah, that's a good outlook for a church to have. I know, going back a little bit to the retirement age thing. When a sermon a few weeks ago at my church, the pastor was talking about how there's power and relinquishing power, and how like John the Baptist was doing all this work baptizing people, but he gave up the power and fame that came with that.
Yeah.
With the arrival of Jesus, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like he said that I baptize you with water, but you baptize people with the Spirit. Like that was
and then he started singing Hamilton in the sermon.
That's weird, but okay.
It was awesome. And he it was really funny because he changed the words to King George's song to be in John the Baptist's perspective. And he's like, who is that? Who is he? Is that Jesus? Or something like that. It was awesome. I loved it.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's power and relinquishing power. And that power is biblical. And it's tranquil and it's peaceful. And I love that. That is what puts me to sleep at night. I mean, when I feel like I'm losing control over something, that grounds me.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus gave up the ultimate power. Like Jesus is God. God is Jesus. But Jesus is also fully human. And
God
he
gave
died.
a bit of his power to make Jesus. Yeah.
And so he gave up that power so that he could defeat sin. So that we wouldn't have to suffer.
Yep.
Real cool.
Yep. God stopped being unbreakable so he could break himself for us, and I love that. Amen. Episode 4, the gang gets theological.
Yeah, we didn't plan on just doing a
No, we did
full-on
not.
theological dive.
That was nuts.
Yeah. Well, kinda nice, though.
That was kinda nice. Oh, I love being a Christian. I know that's
Yeah.
so corny, and, like, I don't wanna be, like, the white savior complex, but, like, I don't know. There's just something about talking about God that always makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jesus is cool.
Yeah. Wow.
That's fun. I love talking about theology. Literally, I will take any opportunity I can to talk about theology and God.
Uh,
I geek out about it. I love it.
yeah. I always just love theology and just kind of understanding things that I don't understand fully.
Mhm.
It's just really interesting to see how other people think.
Yeah, it is. And how, like, like, I don't know, it always comes down to, like, nature versus nurture, but, like, I think
Mhm.
nurture has, like, so much to do with people's outlook on religion.
Yeah.
So that's also interesting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, I feel like there's this huge misconception that theology is gatekept, and it's, like, a very, like, high academia thing, and, like, you can't
Yeah.
access it and blah, 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 and, like, that's just not true, like,
That's not true.
that's not true. Like, the language theologians use is really heavy and pretentious and facetious at
Yeah.
times, but, like, that's a part of your that can be a part of your
Yeah.
analysis, and it can inform how you feel about that particular theologian. The more you study, the
Yeah.
more you'll learn, and the more you'll understand.
Mhm. I guess another way it could be gate kept is, like, kind of how other Christians might react to you,
Reach.
because
Yeah.
not everyone is raised kind of with the same open-mindedness or critical thinking that we might
Mhm.
have. So there are some that are much more closed-minded, and that can cause problems within the church.
Yeah.
But one of the things with the Nazarene denomination is that we strive to not judge, because God is the ultimate judge.
Mhm. That is so important. And then, like, oh man. And like that's not happening at, like, that's not happening at all of it sometimes. And I that's not it's man. That's just huge.
Mhm.
And, like, people will say that, and that will be like that'll be their mantra, and they'll have their life verse, and they'll, like, have this whole notion of what their religion looks like, and then it's just totally off base.
They keep it too closed off.
Hmm.
Like, you're supposed to keep Jesus and the Spirit in your heart, but you can't keep it there. You have
Yeah.
to let it spread around.
Hmm. Like, you have to have conviction, but that's different than
Mhm.
just being stubborn.
Yeah. Like, if there are people that want to have theological discussions with you, kind of grow in your relationship in Christ with you,
Hmm.
then maybe you should keep those relationships.
Yeah. Don't push people away because they want to talk about religion or
Yeah.
Jesus.
There might be some more with that type of stuff in a future episode. We'll see, though.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Maybe for the trauma episode.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I am not excited for the drama episode.
No, that one's gonna be rough.
That one might be like a 2 or 3-parter,
Yeah,
honestly.
trauma month.
Oh, trauma month. Oh my gosh. I just got such a good idea for April. We should, like, do poetry month, and we both, like, read our poems. That would be so fun.
Yeah,
Y'all, in case you didn't know, Logan is a published poetry author.
about to be twice published.
Shut up!
Yes. I am currently
Oh,
planning on a second poetry book to be published on March 30th, my birthday,
oh,
just in
that's so
time
awesome.
for April.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Are you willing to leak the title or do I have to wait?
Yeah, I'm gonna I'll tell the title.
Hey.
It's gonna be called Altered Minds.
Ooh. I
And
think I might
so
know some potential themes.
it's gonna be available on Amazon.
Okay.
There'll be an ebook, paperback, and a hardcover.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. About half of it will be just poems, the other half will be short stories.
Um,
So, yeah. And it's all
that
stuff I've written,
is
like, since I started college.
ooh.
So,
Oh
be
my
excited
god.
for that.
You heard it here first, folks.
It's good. It's real good.
Oh my gosh. This is great. I have to read your first one, but it's on Kindle Unlimited. Woo!
Yeah. And I think with the new one, I might try to go through, there's some other website, I forget, like, the name of it, but, like, they help you be able to send it out to, like, bookstores and libraries and whatnot. So I think I'm gonna probably try to go through them as well, try to get it out to places like Barnes& and Noble,
Oh, it's awesome.
which would be really cool.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. But my main goal is to get it out on Amazon first.
Okay, preach.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh, dropping the poetry book on the
Yeah.
podcast.
It'll be
Oh
perfect for
my
your
god.
book review.
Shut up, it will be. Oh my that picture of you, is that from like the band banquet
What
of
picture?
you in Chicago? On your
Yeah.
Amazon, like where you're yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Nice.
the first band banquet I went to.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. I was a lot skinnier back then.
We all were, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Never feel ashamed about what your body used to look like or what it currently looks like.
Yeah.
That's not fair to you.
So, I guess be looking forward to April then in
Yeah,
general.
'cause that'll be fun.
That'll
And
be
spring.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to find all my old poems that I wrote. Um, in high school, I took a poetry class, and
Mhm.
like the final project was like a little book.
Yeah.
Um, and mine was so good. I loved it so much. I called it Marlowe because kind of a nod to like Christopher Marlowe
Mm.
and to Marlowe and Heart of Darkness, which is like one of my favorite books
Mhm.
ever. And then in WKRP in Cincinnati, which is a sitcom I'm absolutely obsessed with. One of the characters' last name is Marlowe, so it was like a triple meaning for me.
Nice.
And I had poems kind of referring to all three of them in that anthology.
Yeah.
I was at my creative peak when I was in high school. Man, I need to get back there.
Yeah. Well, for me, I have a
Yeah.
minor in writing, creative writing.
Mm,
So I've taken a few classes on poetry and writing. So
nice.
it'll be good.
I'm so excited.
I am too.
I've been
I,
just trying to write more and find more time to be
yeah.
creative in general.
Yeah.
It's so hard when you're a working adult.
I'm supposed to be getting the proof copy of the paperback
Oh,
on Sunday.
really?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So hopefully everything works and
Yeah,
everything is laid out
hopefully it all works.
properly and everything.
It all looks the same the way that you it all looks the way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
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 But I don't know, maybe there will be, some stuff in that we might have to dive into during our trauma month.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe we can do
Maybe
poetry trauma month.
poetry trauma month,
Yeah,
like
we'll do them all.
March is trauma month,
Yeah.
April's poetry month,
Or
May is music month.
April is just the
Or
month.
the month. It is the month ever. Oh, man. Well, I think that is all that we have for our listeners today.
Yeah. Lots to look
Ooh,
forward to and lots to think about.
lots word to lots to consider.
Yeah.
Man,
But
this is crazy. Our lives keep changing.
yeah. But even after all that, we still don't know what we're doing.
We still don't know what we're doing, but maybe next week we might know what we're doing.
Yeah, maybe next
You have
week.
to listen and see. Maybe
Yeah.
next week.
There's
Maybe we
always
won't.
next week.
There's always next week. There's always tomorrow. Scarlett O'Hara, Gone with the Wind. There's always tomorrow. But my name's Kaylee.
My name's Logan.
And we don't know what we're doing. But maybe we will next week.
See ya.
See you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening.